A pleasant greetings everyone. I am Aliyah Mandangan and today I am going to discuss the topic of understanding conflict and violence. So to initially grasp the gist of this topic, I'll firstly discuss the notion of violent extremism. When you say violent extremism, it is the idea that there is no internationally agreed upon definition of violent extremism. The most common understanding of the term is that it refers to the beliefs and actions of people who support or use violence to achieve ideological, religious, or political goals. So, in other words, violent extremism is the beliefs and actions of people who support or use violence to achieve ideological, religious, or political goals. This includes terrorism and other forms of politically motivated and communal violence. Violent extremism has two factors that influenced its mechanism. Firstly, the push factors, and secondly, the pull factors. When you say push factors, it refers to how you drive individuals to violent extremism, such as marginalization, inequality, discrimination, persecution, or the perception thereof, limited access to quality. On the other hand, pull factors nurture the appeal of violent extremism. For example, the existence of well-organized violent extremist groups with compelling discourses and effective programs that are providing. We are now down to the drivers of radicalization to violent extremism. To begin with is the factor of ideological drivers. Ideological drivers are multiple forms of violent extremist ideology. Some are secular while others claim religious legitimacy. The Salafi jihadi ideologies of Al-Qaeda, Daesh, and Al-Shabaab utilize a selective reading of some Islamic religious texts and histories to justify terrorist violence in the name of protecting and advancing Islam. They also use claims of global and local victimization of Muslims to create militant recruits willing to carry out suicide and mass casualty attacks against civilians and infrastructure. For the second driver, which is the socio-economic drivers, this pertains to the adverse socio-economic conditions create high levels of frustration and a sense of powerlessness, which is an ideal conditions for persuading groups and individuals to embrace violent extremism and to oppose the political, social, and legal status quo. The third aspect of radicalization is the political drivers. These are real or perceived exclusion from political representation, discrimination, misgovernance, and narratives of historical injustice are powerful drivers of radicalization. Violent extremists often invoke such injustices to inspire opposition to national political structures. Fourthly, personal drivers. These include a search for status, meaning, power, a sense of belonging and identity, or an all-encompassing theory to explain personal crisis. Those individuals who are personally susceptible to radicalization include those experiencing low self-esteem, a sense of victimization or alienation from normal social networks, boredom and frustration, and a sense of powerlessness. The fifth influential factor onto the radicalization to violent extremism is the global or geopolitical drivers. In Kenya, for example, global and geopolitical drivers are the local effects of international struggles between violent extremists and their opponents worldwide. Anger over Western country policies and interventions in the Middle East and other acts associated with a perceived Western agenda, including Kenya and AMISOM's intervention against Al-Shabaab in Somalia, drive reactions towards Kenya by sympathizers with violent extremists. In addition, proponents of extremist ideologies abroad finance, and facilitate the exportation of ideological extremism in the guise of religion. Lastly, the impact of technological drivers. Technological drivers include the wide availability of social media, blogs, and chat rooms for disseminating extremist propaganda. The increasing affordability of smartphones and data means that there is now borderless connectivity that allows extremist ideologies to be produced. This allows for self-radicalization and clandestine recruitment and training online. Technologies of encryption of digital communication further facilitate the dissemination and invasion by radicalizers.